So, Rob, really good to be able to talk to you today. Before we get into the questions that I've prepared for you, can you tell me a bit about your commercial skills, where you honed them, particularly your exemplary category skills? Tell us a bit about that.
My exemplary category skills. Thanks, Vic. I've been lucky enough to be able to hone my skills over the last 20 plus years on what we would call at TN both sides of the commercial conversation. I was really lucky to start my career in retail. That's the first half, and then the second half was in commercial roles in the supply base. As a retailer, I worked in the commercial function at Tesco, which is probably one of the best commercial groundings that anybody could ever wish for. That's where I got my first exposure to category management, understanding what it was. And then I went to work for Boots and did a lot of roles in desks, buying chilled food, working overseas in Asia and seeing it happen in different countries. And my exemplary category skills must have come to the fore because I was put into a team called the Commercial Best Practice Team. Our role was to go around the Boots commercial function to work with the categories, ahead of range reviews, ahead of joint business planning, to really go into their category in detail, thinking about what's going on with the shopper, the consumer trends. And that's where I got really passionate about category. And I was lucky enough to then take that to the other side of the fence, working at Molson Coors to build a category function there. We had one on and one off trade person there. And over 3-4 years, we built that up to be a really strong, capable group of people. And that's where I saw the real difference it had with retailer relationships. And that was a real great opportunity there. So been lucky, 20 plus years experience, seen from both sides. And that's where I honed my skills, Vic.
Really nice. So I'm hearing both sides of the fence, different categories, different experiences. So across all of that, if you could give one piece of category advice, what would it be?
Category is a really big discipline. I think sometimes people go, oh, category. It's as big as any other commercial conversation we would have. And I think that sometimes it can be over cerebral. I think it sometimes can be over intellectualized. And I think as a result, a lot of people get scared by it. So the one thing that I would really advise people to do is ask themselves the question of, so what? What can we do now as a result of this wonderful data, this wonderful insight that we've got? What are we going to do now? And then if you could couple that, and if I could still two things I could tell people, Vic, it would be, how do you couple the so what with getting more people more often, spending more?
I really love that. I think I've played a category role in my career, and most people think it's either really strategic or it's number crunching. And I think sometimes people lose focus on that. More people more often, what is the outcome of what we're trying to achieve, because it's absolutely consistent with what marketing's trying to do and what sales are trying to do. And so category just plays a really key role within that. So I love those two pieces of advice. They were worth waiting for two. So as we kind of step back from your career and we kind of look forward, what are you noticing right now in terms of trends or unusual things that are happening in the world of category?
So an obvious trend for certainly our clients, and you know, having worked 22 years in this industry around the world, a lot of my friends are telling me that, you know, it's been CPI-tastic. It's been a difficult time. Supply issues, they've been the order of the day for coming up 3 years now, right? With 2023, everything kind of kicked off 2020. So this is 3 long years. It's been a long road. So the trend still is CPI, the trend still is inflation, the trend still is availability. We're talking about strawberries and salad produce right now. Real difficult to put a salad on the table. Not that my kids are interested in salad. It's a real challenge right now. So I think the worrying trend is that category hasn't perhaps been talked about as much as it historically may have been. If you started your career 3 to 5 years ago, this is the world you know. Buyers and sellers, this is all they've been doing. Loggerheads, some pretty difficult conversations. So the great thing about this is that got strong negotiation positions, they understand their supply chains, and they've developed some thick skins. These are good things that you need to work in FMCG and retail, but the worrying trend for me is that potentially not enough people are having genuine shopper and category-based conversations against the backdrop of possibly one of the biggest shifts in consumption patterns in years. The pandemic changed how we shop. The pandemic changed what we shop for. The cost of living crisis is doing the same exponentially for numerous families around many countries around the world. These are really difficult times. And when the relationship with retailers needs to be rebuilt, category should be the safe harbor. It's a real area of commonality. We both just talked about more people more often spending more. It's what the marketeers want to do. It's what the sales guys want to do. It's what the category team should be doing. It's also what the retailer absolutely has to do to grow their businesses. So if we can orientate ourselves around there, that's going to be a real safe space for us. And my worrying trend is that there hasn't been enough airtime for these conversations, and maybe the breadth of the skill set, because we've been so focused on CPI, the ability to have the conversation and to lift one's heads up to think about this is a real big opportunity. I still see good flares of brilliance out there in terms of bundles. The thing that was the meal deal, instead of it's a 2 for on this or a 3 for on that, very confusing bunch of mechanics to get my head around. Solve my problem for £10 tonight. Dinner is £10 from this end. I still get it wrong when I get to the checkout. I've got the wrong thing in the basket, but at least the things there from the retailer trying to do it. And I see some replications of this, maybe in oral care, where for £10 I can get a couple of toothbrushes, some floss, Listerine, that kind of thing. Perhaps need to see more of that, and that's what I'd be really pushing our clients to think about in terms of what they could be doing more of in this space.
Great. And so I'm hearing from you that it's really important after the last couple of years to have more airtime on category. You've been with TN for a good couple of months now. You've clearly been brought in to make sure that TN brings more airtime to the category conversation. What new tools or solutions can our clients expect to see from us this year?
So this year, like in previous years, we have got the ability and people to create you a category strategy, a category vision, a channel strategy. We can consult with you and get into your organization and get those people that have got that vast experience. Those practical experts can come and help you build those visions and strategies. I'm seeing a lot of clients and a lot of companies that need a refresher or a rebuild in that space, and that's where our consultants can absolutely come and help you. If you've got those things, or if we've worked with you and got those things, then the program that I've been working on is called C Cubed, which is around the consumer, the category, and the channel, but more importantly, the continual process of how we get a category mindset across more people. When you worked in your category team, Vic, how many people were you?
For the grocery channel, there was 7 of us, and in the convenience channel, there was 3, and none in the on-trade.
So none in on-trade. So, I mean, that's insightful itself. You've got big groups out there now that have got the same expectations of their supply base that the likes of Tesco and JS have. And it's really interesting that numbers game. If we look at the 7 category managers, they probably faced off to, I would imagine, 50 sales personnel in that channel. That's the kind of ratio, and ratios we're still seeing. I was with a client last week. Their Tesco business unit was 12 up with half a category head. The number one thing retailers want their suppliers to be good at is category management. It's the number one expectation from the Advantage Group of 23 metrics that they have. 2 of the top 5 are category, the rest are supply chains. My insight from that is, be helpful, be good. If you're helpful, you're important. If you're important, you're the person they're picking the phone up to. So the more category orientated we can get the commercial people, and the more commercially orientated we can get the category people, we're going to get much, much better at differentiating ourselves from our competition. Overlay that with the retailer's perspective and this can be done at market, channel, or customer level, you're going to put yourself into a great position, and your output will be a category engagement plan that will send you to the front of that line and be the person that they're calling. So if anyone needs help in that area, that's where TN is focusing itself. On top of the vision and the strategies that we'll be able to build you, that's where we can really see us having the biggest impact with our clients in the category space in 2023 and beyond.
Thank you. And to be honest, Rob, you're already making a great impact. You know, we're really excited to be introducing you to our clients, and they're already benefiting from your knowledge and insight and challenge that you've brought with you from your career. I guess on that note, why did you join TNG? I mean, we're thrilled you're here, but why did you choose TNG when I know that there was a number of other places that you could have gone to?
I've been really lucky in my life to work in some fantastic organizations all around the world, you know, large and small. I've worked in startups with 3 other people, and I've worked for Volkswagen when they were the most valuable planet on the valuable company in the world. So people is the thing that makes an organization. That was the bit that I was looking for. I'm lucky in the period of time I am in my life where I want to work with people that want me and that I want to work with. And that was the fundamental thing that stuck out. TN's got great people. The folks that I got introduced to, genuinely inspirational, and people that I want to work with, have a beer with, and go lead. And the second part is our clients. You know, those people working with those clients is just something that's really, really powerful. And then as a consultant, the benefit of being in this role is that we get to, you know, travel sometimes a good thing, not such a good thing, but we get new challenges, we get new places, new organizations. I've worked in the short time that I've been here, I've worked in spirits, I've worked in confectionery, I've worked in pet food, I've worked in chilled foods. It's been fantastic to go and see the different operational nuances that our clients have, help them out through it. And I didn't realize this at the time. It is absolutely a reason why I want to stay at TN. It's the impact we have on people. Sometimes at the end of a session, 3-day experience negotiator, you're leaving with friends, you're leaving with new colleagues, and you can see the impact and the excitement that people have had from the conversations you've been having with them. And it's just a great privilege to share my experiences and help, you know, people that are sometimes frighteningly half my age on their way in their career. Yeah. Our embedding process is always great to catch up with people 6-8 weeks later to go, okay, what's happened? How have you got on? What's changed? What's new? How are you getting on? And the conversations are really, really powerful. And I take great energy from that.
Love it. Thank you. So if that's the reason why you joined TN, and I know you're the director of practice of category, but I also know that you deliver a number of other programs. Looking across category and our total TN offer, what key differences do you see between TNG and our competitors?
I think as we grow, our competitive set gets bigger, doesn't it now? So there are some traditional competitors that people watching this might have in mind, but I've had the privilege of working with who I see one of our competitors, and you know, taking that understanding and knowing the difference that both of those organizations can have on people is really, really powerful. And that's something that really wants me to make sure that TN's at the front, because I want us to be having that impact on people. Our competitors will do the same, and they do good jobs. But I think what separates us is our people. You have to have a significant amount of experience to go and lead a program for TN. It's one of our things that we do. Last week, the company that myself and a colleague went for had a former buyer of their category and a former sales director of their category in the room, helping them understand how to negotiate.
That's great.
I just don't see how it gets better for them than it does that. Yeah. And having people who have worked in retail, albeit we don't work with retailers, but my gosh, do we understand it? We've got 50, 60 plus years of experience of working in retail in our organization. So I mentioned our people previous as a reason I joined. Our people is our point of difference. We are approachable experts. We take cerebral, difficult concepts and make them practical and challenging. and then bite size it up to get them to think about that question I asked before. So what? How can you make yourself better as an organization? Because we drive behavior. We don't just dish out theory. And if you get the privilege to come on one of our courses, you'll be able to experience that, because we have PowerPoint slides, but we rarely use them because the power is in the conversation about how we facilitate. So I think that those three things, in terms of, you know, our people, our way of doing it, and our experience, is the stuff that sets us apart.
I totally agree. And I'm in the client transformation team. And I know when I talk to my clients, I talk about our workshops being structured in 3 ways. First third is theory. The second third is applying the theory to our experiences. And we share where we did it brilliantly, but also we share where we perhaps could have learned. And then the final third is quickly applying all of that to the delegates that we're training. And I agree with you. We need people that have walked in the shoes of our delegates so that we can not only have credibility, but actually help them apply the learning much quicker. And I think that's why we have the impact that you've described. So
I think you're absolutely right. I enjoy the fact that we help our delegates learn more from our mistakes. An old boss of mine once said, it's okay to make mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. And trust me, in 22 years, I pushed myself hard.
So that leads me to my next question really well. So what is the current biggest challenge that you're facing, and how are you tackling it?
I think, you know, like you, Vic, I deal with many competing priorities, and oftentimes the challenge is to cut through the noise in terms of what is the nub of the issue. That's the big thing that I'm looking to tackle right now. And the really interesting thing, we said earlier that, you know, category is quite a big discipline. And my biggest challenge right now is that I fundamentally believe a lot of people are saying a lot of the same things. And the challenge is to coordinate all of that feedback, all of that input, because there's so much commonality in the themes. And how can we then make that really scalable in terms of a learning program, that we can get those, you know, 8 to 1 people really, really learning about category? That's the biggest challenge right now, because we're approaching things in a bit of a different way, a little bit of a different way. And the real challenge is to help ourselves externally and internally get to the nub of the category issues, really help guide our clients in terms of what is it that we need, because sometimes what we think the solution may be might not actually be the solution. The problem may be manifesting itself elsewhere. So I'm using the great people we've got in the organization to sense check our understanding, to upskill them in terms of what I know, to take what you know, to share with everybody else, and to work across the organization to make us stronger. And the big thing I've learned in my career is that you never do anything or fix anything by yourself. You do it as a team. We've got a great team of people, and we've had some wonderful sessions together, helping you and the other global account directors really get to grips with what's new territory for us. And everyone's doing a great job, and I'm really proud of the work everyone's doing.
Fab. So let's take a bit of a back seat. The next couple of questions are about Rob Brindley. We'd love to get to know you a little bit better. So I'm going to start with 3 words to describe you. What 3 words do you think best describes you?
Well, I'm a fan of alliteration, so they're all going to have to begin with the same letter. So I'd probably go passionate. Yeah. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about my work. I'm passionate about life in general. I'm pragmatic. Comes down to, well, okay, that's a great idea, but how are we going to make it work? How do we get it to happen? My wife often likes to book brilliant trips for us in elaborate places, and I'm thinking, well, how are we going to get there? So that pragmatism always kicks through. And then the final one would be playful. I like to have fun. Those that are close to me know that I like a giggle. I like a lot of banter. The time's right for that. Sometimes I have to be pragmatic around my playfulness and not let the passion come out. So those are the 3 words I'd use to describe myself.
Thank you. Love it. thinking about people that you might hero worship, who is it, and have you ever met one of them?
I've been really lucky in my life. My son asked me the other day. He said, "Dad, who's the most famous person you've ever met?"
Oh,
And I said, "Well, the soon-to-be king." And my lad couldn't believe it. And I was very pleased to say that I had the privilege of meeting HRH Prince of Wales at the time at Highgrove House through the Soil Association and Organic Farming Community in a role some 10, 15 years ago.
wow.
So that was a really interesting in terms of the people you meet. But I think the word there is like hero. I've met a lot of famous people and been in the company of these England footballers, England rugby players, international superstars. Sometimes it's a real privilege to be in their company, but for me, being a hero is defined by heroism. And I think there's more heroes on my street here where we've got nurses, doctors, and policemen living down there. And like many people who will perhaps be watching this, my hero was my dad. And I was fortunate enough to meet him every day for 27 years that I had him, and that's my hero. And I'd like to live in his memory, to do the things that he taught me well, to be a good person, act with integrity, be honest, and just be a good man.
I like that. Thank you. What do you like to do in your spare time? So are there any books or podcasts that you enjoy watching? Are any of them related to the category or the commercial context that you currently working in?
Vic, I've got 3 kids, so no.
Time.
I think as a father of 3, Julia Donaldson is my favourite author.
Oh,
Whilst the Gruffalo is an exceptional tale of changing the balance of power, I'm not sure it's the kind of example that our delegates are looking for. But I do enjoy the Jake Humphrey High Performance podcast. I think that pragmatist in me,
yeah.
I really love to hear from people who've done it. You maybe ought to see behind me a couple of books up there. There's the Ray Kroc book about McDonald's. There's Shoe Dog, the Phil Knight Nike story. Albeit, I swear there's some chapters missing from that book. I want to know about the Michael Jordan years and how he saved the business from bankruptcy and what he's doing with his $2 billion a year royalty check. That's the kind of stuff I want to get into. So if I have spare time, it would be an autobiographical read. But I love hearing from people like Dave Brailsford on marginal gains and things like that. I love hearing those people that have scaled the heights of their profession and sharing the stories along the way. I love that stuff.
Great. Rob, thank you so much for the time together. Great to hear. Great to have you in the business. Great to hear the agenda that you're clearly so passionate about leading, and really can't wait to work more with you and with our clients in 23.
Thanks, Vic. Looking forward to it.